who never put his foot by the palaces of the rulers. He could have had prestige. He told them, you wanna learn Bukhari and that history book I wrote? You come and sit with the other people. You don't got no... Look at, this is a lesson to those scholars today. The scholars all over the world today who are always in the palaces of their kings and leaders, the ones who get grants in Ramadan by the millions. You know, I was reading in a news article in their own country about Imam, I don't want to say, he got a judgment against him by another Imam, two Imams for. He got 25 million as the judgment against him. His brother was my teacher once. These guys are poor family. The other one got a job, I don't want to say it. And how do you get 25? This is the award against him. The property is worth more than 45 million. Where the heck did you get this? And when you get this from a leader, I ask you by Allah. I ask you by Allah. Unless you're an angel and you get an award similar to this, $1 million, $500,000, and a leader gives you $500,000, are you going to be able to say that interest bank is haram over there, destroy it and take it down? Your submission to the United Nations and your bowing and prostrating to the United Nations is haram. How are you going to say that when you got $500,000 in your pocket from it, when your Benzes are outside? Like the Mufti of Masr and other Muftis around the Masr. You know, when you're on the paycheck, how? If I give someone, imagine it. Unless you're an angel, how are you going to say it? Ask you about Allah. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith, you get closer to those leaders, you get further away from Allah. The one who taught this to Al-Imam Al Bukhari is a scholar. He said, one of his scholars told him, if you go to a jifa, you know a jifa is a dog that's been laying there, you eat out of that better than going to the palaces. Better than going. They bow down to the palaces. This is not what we want. We want legends like Al-Bukhari. Did he say, Bukhari, here's a ton of gold, come and take it? Be the Imam and give me fatwas and I pay you for each fatwa? All he told them is, teach me and my students and my kids your tarikh and your sahih. He said, you want to learn it, come over here. And if you don't like that, stop me from giving lectures. That'll be excused in front of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ, he goes in his chain, he says, the Prophet ﷺ says, whomever hides knowledge, Allah will burn him in burns of rods on the judgment day. من كتم علما ألجمه الله بلجام من نار يوم القيامة. He said, stop me. You don't like it? Stop me. That'll be excused. When Allah asks me, why aren't you Abu Abdullah? Why aren't you spreading knowledge? I tell him, you're the one who stopped me. And he began to tighten the lid on him. That's how all the scholars are. Nearly all the pious scholars were imprisoned, had problems with the rulers, ran away from the rulers. And who are those rulers? Pious and just people. Rulers who, when one woman gets oppressed, they take their entire army and annihilate them. Yeah, they have problems, but nothing compared to today. The cowards who open. Today you hear the Saudi tractors are taking American bombers and taking them to Kuwait so they can bomb their brothers in Iraq. Today, airplanes left from Saudi and Kuwait to bomb Iraq. Today. And what? And they call me, these are leaders, and you're Khawarij if you talk about these. These guys need to be insulted, need to be exposed. The ones who bow to the kufr in the United Nations. How could you be an imam and a sheikh and not talk about the oppression of the United Nations? How could you? How could you? The banner that everyone under their oppression, not under their justice, they humiliate and kill all the Muslims. This is what Al-Bukhari taught us. This is the wala al-bara. Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab and the pious scholars taught us. Not the cowards who you go into their offices to tell them about the situation in the ummah. They don't got no time for it. No time. He got time to collect Benzes. He got time to collect palaces. He got time to get the king's awards and the president's awards. But he don't got time for his brothers. This is what we need. Al-Bukhari, knowledge with the true stance. True stance without knowledge? No. Knowledge without the true stance? No. We want them hand in hand. Knowledge in the true stance. He gets ousted out of his town. The lid gets tightened upon him. He puts the sleeping bag and he leaves. On his way out, he stays in the outskirts of Bukhara in a friend's house. And he stays there for a certain period of time, and he hears some stories say he's supposed to be summoned to meet back to the leader of Bukhara. And he makes dua, oh Allah, don't make me and him unite. I don't want to meet him. And then he makes the dua, the world, the globe, where am I going to go? He's been ousted out of everywhere. No more students. He said, Ya Allah, take my soul. That's it. I've had enough in this life. I spread what I could. And he asked Allah that be the end of it. They said, then he got, he felt uncomfortable staying in his friend's house. So they were leading him, two men, the guest, where he was staying a guest, they were leading him to the camel or the horse he was at, one on each side. And they said as he was just about to ride, he fell very ill and he began to sweat like nothing we've seen before. And that was the last thing we had. Rahmatullah alayh, this was 256 after the Hijrah. One of the biggest scholars, his name is At-Tawawi, and he said in his dream, he said, I had a dream that I seen the Prophet ﷺ. Look at this dream. This is a big pious scholar who was saddened over Bukhari when he knew. But prior to that, he had a dream. He said a few days, he said, I had a dream that I seen the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And I seen him standing like he's waiting for someone. And I said, who are you waiting for? He said, I'm waiting for Al-Bukhari. He's going to come and visit us very soon. He said, Wallah al-Azim, when I asked the people of Bukhara and around there, when he died, it was the exact time I had that dream. Pious dream. This is what he got. And look what he got after that. That pious dream, and look what he got after that. They buried him. Few people, couple people buried him. Legend like that gets buried by a couple people. What happened after that? They bury him under the dirt. And after that, they realized what a mistake they did. After they bury him, they realize, they see some stories, Allahu Alam, in their authenticity, Nur come out of his grave, and it got to the point that the people regretted what they did, and this is haram to do, but the ignorant people did it. They began to take the dirt for barakah on his grave, to the point there was no dirt left. It's haram to do that, but the ignorant people did that in honor of the mistake that they did in leaving him behind. And they've even built around him a fence, a wooden fence, so the people stay away, so the dirt was there. And they took that down and they all went to his grave. This is the legend that we're talking about. Of course, that's haram to do, to have barakah in anyone who's dead or in his dirt. We don't do that to the Prophet ﷺ himself. But I'm trying to show you that after he died, they realized what a mistake they did. And that's how all the scholars we had. You know, Al-Albani rahmatullah alayh, who was his knowledge and his specialty is the same specialty of Muqbil. You heard Shaykh Al-Albani. Actually, he had a dream almost like Albani's first dream. I heard it on a tape, and it's available on the tape. An Algerian woman called Al-Albani rahmatullah alayh before he died, and she said, Sheikh, I have a dream and I want to tell you. I seen the Prophet ﷺ standing, and you were walking right behind him in his footsteps. Not you. She told him someone. So he said, yeah, that's a good sign, and a very good sign. And he started praising. She said, that person behind him was you, I seen in my... She doesn't know him, never sat with him, never anything. She had this dream. He began to cry and cry, and the tape, it's available on the tape, to the point that he told everyone in the house, please leave, I need to be alone. And he hung up and he was crying like a little baby. Because these are things that show the right path. Look what Allah made out of these giants. And Albani, same thing. I heard maximum. If you want to exaggerate, the ones who went to Albani's funeral, 4,000. For Albani. Albani is just like, similar to Al Bukhari in the knowledge. Today, the students of knowledge, instead of going and looking in the hadith, authentic or not, they go look up Al-Albani. What did Albani say? He saved us time. Because Albani went to the old quotes and he said what's authentic and what's not. And we say, just like Al-Bukhari, Rahmatullah alayhi, Al-Albani. And you're going to see people, just like Al-Bukhari said about Albani, Rahmatullah alayhi. Because Albani did so much to serve the Sunnah. Anyone who's a student of Sunnah is going to say, Rahmatullah alayhi. How many people went in his, 4,000. The animal, the kafir who died after him, the president, the king of Jordan, King Hussein, the traitor to the Jews, him and his parents, the kafir who died had the biggest, in the same country. Why I bring that? Both were in the same country. That kafir had the biggest funeral probably this planet ever seen. That kafir. In Albani, if you want to exaggerate it, his students told him, 4,000. But look, who's going to get the King Hussein? Well, right now, you rarely hear anything mentioned. Other than the peace talks, and he's the father of the peace talks, and we curse him, may Allah curse him in his grave. Other than that, you don't mention him good. Albani is going to get you guys, and your children, and your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren. And who's Albani? From Albania. Jazakum Allah khair. I'm sorry I took long today. Wa sallallahu alayhi Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam.